29 minutes past 8 o'clock, so a minute to the half-hour mark. But mainly for you to be reminded that investing is very easy and very affordable, plus reliable with Zabo, a platform by Altex East Africa. Use the USSD code *292# that is for the MTN subscribers, and follow the prompt by joining the investment queue of starting up your investment by investing in securities and bonds and other products available on Uganda's financial market space. Well, pretty much a time when you get to realize that only with 15,000 Ugandan shillings as the minimum amount, you will be able to invest in these bonds and securities. Zabo says, my money, my future. So let your money shape up your future. Be proud of how you can start your investment journey with this particular platform. Do remember the markets open at 8:15 a.m. and close at 3:15 p.m. East African Standard Time. These markets are only closed during weekends and during public holidays. Zabo, my money, my future. Altex East Africa, do something new. And at this particular moment in time, let's get into sports business this morning. With the Italian government, which has approved the 5-year ceiling for media rights deals. This comes after the government approved changes to sports broadcasting rights legislation that will allow for contracts running up to 5 years, which not only applies to the leagues that include Serie A, Serie B, but of course other particular sporting events and activities within Italy, which include more of netball, basketball, and other sporting activities. Now, these particular right deals for Italian sport are currently limited to 3 years, but this will now change through an amendment to the Aiuti quota to 3 years, rather to the Aiuti decree following examination by the Senate Budget Committee, which does believe that it would be better that the starting or minimum age would be, or minimum time frame for these rights should be 3 years. Then at least they should now run to 5 years and below. So that's exactly coming in from Italy, whereby they do believe that this is to at least smoothen the broadcasters and of course those who are engaging into sports broadcasting and the entire stakeholders in sports activities within Italy as well. That is according to the Italian government, which has now approved a 5-year ceiling for media rights deals within Italy. And now, besides that, away from that same situation, we head to Qatar 2022, which has apparently been recognized as the world's most expensive World Cup of all time. Not only that, one of the most memorable ones regarding the fact that there have been matches that are worth a rewatch if you have been watching the entire 1-month tournament that had been set in Qatar. Now we look at the World Cup cost in Qatar. How much has been paid out by hosts on the most expensive FIFA men's tournament ever? So if you're to draw back in December 2010, that is when the former FIFA president Sepp Blatter announced that Qatar would be the host of 2022 World Cup, sparking wild celebrations on the streets of Doha 12 years back. Now, in the 12 years that followed, Qatar launched the largest infrastructure project in the World Cup history to ensure that stadium, transport links, airports, and accommodation facilities would be ready in time for the big kickoff. As estimated, 1 million visitors arrived in Qatar to watch the 2022 World Cup. The debate is now there whether the cost of the tournament is infrastructure and plenty of controversy surrounding it. Qatar has apparently reportedly spent $229 billion in World Cup infrastructure, although the World Cup official team has not confirmed that figure. Now, the country's finance ministers admitted to spending $500 million per week for years during the course of the infrastructure project, but the highest total confirmed by a Qatari official was $200 billion. Attempts to piece together an accurate estimate of the World Cup's total costs have been made difficult by the varying statements made about the cost of infrastructure elements such as stadia, hotels, and transport links during the last 12 years. Now, the task report quoted a figure of $6.5 billion as the cost of the World Cup is 8 stadia, Park Communications Executive Director at the Supreme Court for Delivery and Legacy of the World Cup, Fatma Al-Noyami. Now, previously, the Secretary General of the committee, Hassan El-Fawadi, had apparently suggested that the cost of the stadium was close to $8 billion and close to 8 to 10 billion US dollars when asked at the Chatham House Policy Institute way back in 2016 in London. In addition to the money spent on building or redeveloping the World Cup's 8 stadiums, huge amounts have also been spent on accommodation, including private islands, villas, apartments, and hotels. Now, in Doha alone, more than 15 billion US dollars were spent on accommodation complex known as the PAL, while 36 billion US dollars was spent on the Doha Metro. Elsewhere, an entire city was constructed around Lusail Stadium. Lusail City, that is the Lusail Stadium, which hosted the opening and the closing match of the World Cup tournament. Now, this particular city featured 22 hotels and enough housing for 200,000 residents, as well as a theme park, 2 marinas, and 2 golf courses was set up in the 12 years of preparation for the World Cup in Qatar. Now, presented 7.5 billion US dollars in revenue through 4 years of commercial deals tied to the 2022 World Cup in Qatar, according to the governing body. That is a report they apparently released in the first week of the World Cup tournament in Qatar. Now, 4 years after the Russia World Cup in 2018, the FIFA earned 7.5 billion US dollars. That is in the period of preparation for that in Qatar. Now, the earnings which FIFA did reveal to officials from more than 200 of its member nations are 1 billion US dollars more than what the organization pulled in the previous World Cup tournament cycle leading to the 2018 event in Russia. Of course, the World Cup 2022 was won by Argentina. The final was played in Lusail Stadium on Sunday. After a 3-3 draw, the match ended in penalties, 4-2 in favor of the Argentines. Now, lastly, from Sports Business this morning, we look at the 8 refugees in Kenya who have got scholarships for the 2024 Paris Olympics. The support will include a fixed month grant of 1,500 US dollars, that is approximately 185,000 Kenyan shillings. The National Olympic Committee of Kenya will give Kenyan-based refugees with sports talent equal opportunities to thrive, just like any other Kenyan sports person as well. Now, when you look at the National Olympic Committee of Kenya, President Paul Tegat said that there is enormous sports talent across the refugee camps in the country that needs harnessing to full potential. Tegat said that these refugees ought to be allowed to access some of the country's best training facilities and technical expertise. The 5 men and 3 women athletes will benefit through the Refugee Athlete Support Program. The support will include a fixed month grant of 1,500 US dollars, that is approximately 185,000 US dollars, rather 185,000 Kenyan shillings. That will cover the costs of training and participation in high-level and qualification competitions ahead of the 2024 Paris Olympic Games. Those in athletics will train at camps that will be identified in the Rift Valley starting January, while those in other fields like taekwondo those in other fields like taekwondo will train in Nairobi. Now, the athletes were selected during the trials on December 5th this year after a nomination process that included sporting level as well as official refugee status verified by the United Nations Human Commission for refugees, and then the government of Kenya, as well as personal situation and the background. Now, Tagat paid tribute to fellow legend and former world marathon record holder Tengla Lerup through her Tengla Lerup Foundation for managing the Refugee Athlete Support Program in Kenya since inception by the International Olympic Committee in 2015. Now, the program had the first group of 10 athletes participate in the 2016 Rio Olympic Games, while the 2020 Tokyo Olympics had 52 athletes drawn from 20 host countries in 11 sports. So that is it for Sports Business this particular morning. And of course, after that, we will be heading to Entertainment Business with Barija Andrew. And now, away from that, let's cross over to the entertainment business now with Barija Andrew this morning to give us more from the latest economies happening from the world of entertainment. Andrew Berige, good morning.
Good morning, Jerome. How are you?
I'm okay. How is the morning treating you today?
Very, very cold and heavy rains all the day. Very
Yeah,
unpredictable.
it does look so to be a very rainy season this time around.
Very. It's a very serious season. It's been a while since we last had such a season, by the way. Ever since we know that changes in the climate, that of course quite lots of businesses are being tampered with. Actually, to don't ground, we shall be looking at that particular aspect of the impact of the rains on the business. Well, for the entertainment this morning, we shall be looking at the AMC. Of course, AMC has been making headlines everywhere, regarding making money ever since we saw that incidents where most of the staff were laid off. Then away from that, shall have come down to the court, to the case that was filed in court against the producers of the famous series, that's the Criminal Minds. I guess you could have watched this series, Criminal Minds, So, yeah, so quite lots of aspects are really transparent right there. Okay, now I officially head into the business and entertainment, but first we're going to look at the AMC studios and the theaters, which says it raised 162 million US dollars from 8 shares. When I talk about the 8 shares, I mean the AMC preferred equities, of course, using cash to pay down debt and fund acquisitions. Now, AMC has been really going through a tough time for the past time, because I know now this is not new to you. If you've been watching SMB business and entertainment, this is not something very new to you. We talked about how the AMC laid off most of the workers, and of course they see resigning at the time. So it's been quite a very tricky time for the movie and to the movie theater or the movie making company. But quite lots of strategies are being put in place to ensure that this is largely combated. Okay. The company acquired that's a former Arclight location in Boston, that's Massachusetts, and of course AMC's 8 Gambit appears to be paying off. Great. Now, when I talk about the AMC preferred equities, this is a separate stock that the AMC created as a way to ensure that they can raise much more money. It's separate from the AMC shares, so it's a little bit different. So AMC Theatre says it has raised 162 million. It says preferred equity units, and that's since launching the stock just a few months ago, ahead of the market, ahead of the market open on Monday. AMC shares were trading at $5.31. That's per share, while the AMC preferred equities shares were trading at 0.73. Of course, still far here, you see that even though the AMC preferred equities units and the common shares were economically equivalent, it is disappointing that the 8, I'm going to be calling them, going to be using the short form. That's 8. Just now, I'm trying to mean AMC preferred equities, which is a separate stock. Disappointing that the 8 units have since inception consistently traded at significant discounts. That's to the AMC common shares, and that's a statement which was made by AMC. That's the chairperson, that's Adam Aaron. However, he added that while trading the prices of the
Hello everyone, if you are looking for some great television series to watch now.
Market and trading dynamics, apes serving precisely the purpose originally intended for them. So these shares have been quite very beneficial in terms of helping the company to pay back its debts right there. Really, Hypermart is not really a very much established company or theater. Look at the production out there. We have a budget, and some of these calls for quite lots of money. Probably I would request my producer just give us a clip right there regarding and take a look at these movies, the quality, the images that come out of there. Realize that it's quite heavy budget right there. So they needed money to ensure that they put these, like to refund this right back. So you get to understand that this is something that is very, very remarkable. Now, some of the most preferred movies, like you can see right there, there is aspect that's The Preacher, which was quite a very selling movie right there. Walking Dead, which has been very famous. Badland. I mean, quite so many movies that they really put up there. It's really heavy budget, and they needed more money. It's like the streaming is not bringing them back the money. So what they decided to do, and this is a strategy, unfortunately, I don't think there is any movie company that is listed on the stock exchange at the end of today. But in East Africa, probably in Kenya, we have to search, we could actually find them. But that's one of the strategies of how you can actually raise heavy budgets, make this heavy budget movie. You borrow money knowing that actually will be paid back. Very, very, very close. Now, when we talk about now such a story like The Preacher, which you're watching right there, quite a very heavy budget. You're talking about investment, about 50 million US dollars and above 100 million US dollars. This really calls for money, investing in money. So you cannot just rely on one income source if you really think that you're going to get back that money. It's going to be very, very, very expensive for you right there. So AMC, the AMC prepared which is now doing that. So we expect best of the quality that is out there regarding that. Okay, still as I continue in the reports, it says that the company says it has reduced its overall debt obligations by 180 million. That's this year, reflecting both refinancing and purchase of existing debt at discount. And it has acquired a former Arclight location in that's in Boston. Boston. You get to see even acquiring some other branches and how they can put the production. So this is quite a very heavy aspect there. The company says it will end 2022 with between 725 million and 825 million. So this is their expectations by the end of the year. They expect to raise 725 to 825 million US dollars by the end of this year. And that's from showcasing the movies. Remember, AMC, despite the fact that it's a movie company, they have their own theaters where they premiere their movies, they have their own streaming platform where you can actually view the movies which they put out there. So you get to understand they're being very strategic. But however, they're also attributing this sum, looking at the Avatar way of what which has just been released, which they hope that will also add a leaf regarding to adding income is what they expect. So 825 is quite a great target for a movie company. I believe will be a great achievement if they are in a position to do that. Okay, the global box office is widely expected to improve. That's next year, but it is not expected to return to pre-pandemic levels as the flow of movies to theaters continues to be slower. Than before, and with pandemic still wreaking havoc in various markets. Notes to mention more comfort with streaming by consumers. So yes, we anticipate that. So we just hope that next year things will get a little bit better, but we don't expect theaters at all to close up, run out of business simply because the moviegoers are no longer interested in theaters. But then we have to follow up on the Amazon 1 billion investment to a theatrical, ensure that movies get back to theatrical. I believe this could, in a way, connect to this to make this a reality for these movie companies and the theater personnel. Remember, it's both ways. Okay, AMC has responded with a regular canvas of gambits with logical ties. That's to its existing business. Of course, a plan sell popcorn in supermarkets and on delivery apps on AMC branded credit card. This is what we talked about on Monday. This for AMC is really so amazing. I mean, that taking this creativity to a whole new level regarding this. Now they're going to be selling popcorns, these are I mean, I'm seeing something like like sell popcorn in supermarkets on delivery apps. So they have plans to put up delivery apps and an AMC branded credit card, Zoom powered meetings from its theaters. Much of that. Very, very, very interesting. And others with less tangible connections and take in a gold mine. I mean, this is very, very, very crucial. I see a report here which says that it says it's all in the name of keeping AMC a meme stock. See that? That is something very incredible. I mean, this for thinking hard day by day to ensure that they really make this thing work. They are really passionate. And I think this should be something to borrow a leaf for the East African community of the participants in entertainment. Let's get very aggressive to this extent, of doing such initiatives, reaching out to the people, ever much. Now, this is all business, this is how you get money to finance a movie. You have to, it's about strategizing, definitely. You're not going to rely on income that comes from the movies. Definitely, it's not going to be easy. So you gotta go out there. Already you have a brand that you're a movie maker, and if you put out there that brand, like selling it out to the public in all dimensions. One thing people need to understand in the entertainment industry, there is that aspect of the brand manifesting in different dimensions. Now, AMC brand is not manifesting in only theaters and movies, but it's also manifesting in, putting up popcorns, you're selling popcorns, delivery applications. I guess that is something that you should really think about as an entertainer. You have a movie company, you're Ugandan, that you may never be known unless you transit that brand identity into another aspect. Because through that, when you reach out people through those different dimensions of your manifestation, by all means, people will relate to you. So when you come out to say that, hey, I'm now putting out this movie, people are going to find it easy. They feel the connection to come and really watch the movie because you're connecting. So this is all business, how you can use the entertainment platform to really use business. But otherwise, if you think that you're going to just make money from the movies alone, it's going to be very hard. This should be something that you should learn from AMC in a very great examples. Okay, now away from AMC, we wind up this report as we look at criminal minds producers to pay. That's $3 million to settle sexual harassment and retaliation claims. Very of you watch that series. Very interesting detective. But surprisingly, it so happens that the producers have been charged with sexual harassment, and this is a big financial. $3 million is a lot of money back. The California Civil Rights Department on Monday announced a deal which revolves a lawsuit the state filed on behalf of a group of the crew members. Now, this is very sad. ABC Signature will pay $3 million to resolve claims of sexual harassment and retaliation brought by the state of California on behalf of the group crew members. Okay. The California Civil Rights Department in May 2020 sued Disney, ABC Signature, and others and individuals alleging that they violated the Fair Employment and Housing Act. And of course, that's the Ralph Civil Rights Act and state law. The department alleged that the director of photography of this series, that is Gregory St. John's, sexually harassed male crew members for 14 seasons of the series, and that the producers ignored the behavior and fired workers who complained. Wow, very hilarious aspect right there with a very heavy business implication. Now, this is not the first thing that we are seeing such scandals in Hollywood. Such scandals based on the sexual harassment, simply because some of these people, some of these actors, when they come into this, they're a little bit desperate to appear on screen, and at the end of the day, are willing to pay any price to appear there. So the producers tend to take advantage of that. But at the end of the day, they forget that this is actually bringing back, it's going to have a long-term effect. Now, ABC Signature, which are one of the producers of this series, like the production company, have to pay $3 million. This is quite big, but it's not really about the $3 million as such, but the image that you have killed. That image is going to really affect your business. The way your business output. Just let me digress a bit. You remember recently when the recent Oscar Awards, when Will Smith slaps that comedian that was emceeing, the name I think my the Trevor. Well, I remember, but when he slapped him recently, he put up a movie. I think it was 2 months ago. I don't know what title that movie was, but when I remember, I'll tell you. But that movie, the response, the way people showed this response was a little bit, people were really mad at that incident. So, regardless of whether Will Smith was made to pay a fine of whatever amount of money, it's not compared to the money it's going to lose in the future. So, what is the fate, the financial fate of the criminal minds? Is it going to generate more money? It's being generated after such plays are being put there because people are attaching the emotions to what they see. You see those actors, the actors acting in there, but you don't know what they're going through at the end of the day. And this is violating the Employment Act, according to the United States of America. So the implication is coming back, is coming back, yes, to that. So you get to realize that this is very, very serious. But still, as I go through this, Disney has not yet responded to a request comment on the settlement regarding this case. And of course, the hearing for court approval for the consent decree is currently set off for Thursday. That is tomorrow. And of course, we shall be giving you the updates regarding what's really taking place on this case, how far they're dealing. And we hope that as such instances don't really happen to our industry, which is still growing. But fortunately, to some extent, they do happen. But that is pretty sad. Get to realize that they really have long-term financial implications to you. They seem social acts, but they have consequences in the long run. It's exactly 55 minutes, and that's past the hour of 8 a.m. And that's it for the business and entertainment this morning. Back to you, Jordan.
Right, and that is Barija Andrew for you giving us more of the latest coming in from the world of entertainment. Meanwhile, stick around to Smart24 TV. After the break, we're getting into the SMB Insight, and only that, we shall be having also the SMB on ground coming up shortly and more business updates. Good morning.